Don't miss the inaugural All-American Cup Team Tennis Tournament presented by Thomas J. Henry at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, November 11 through 13. The All-American Cup features 10 top men's U.S. players competing on 2 teams, East versus West, each captained by the greatest tennis doubles team of all time, Mike and Bob Bryan. You don't want to miss this. Brother versus brother, East versus West, best versus best. Tickets on sale now at allamericantenniscup.com.
All right, Pickle, let's talk a little college football. Another week of college football. You know we've got teams that have played 9 games?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got 3 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, like North Texas.
Yep, they
North
played
Texas.
a week 0 game.
Yeah, they played 9 games. Anyway, we have...
And they're fighting for the 2nd seed spot in Conference USA.
We'll talk about them in a minute. Let me cook. Let's get to the 5 biggest moments of the college football weekend across the state of Texas, and giving you a look at what really stood out to us across the Texas college football landscape. We'll start with moment number 5.
It's the only league that's not for long. Boy, in college football, the landscape that it is
Here's
today.
Judkins. He breaks free, and now a foot race, and they will indeed catch him from behind. Jalen Jones tracks him down. The importance of this final 4th quarter to the mood around here, and Judkins has said, take your mood and shove it. I'm running for 61. And
all the movement this way, no one's really blocked, but it's going to open up a big hole. All that lateral movement right here. There's 3 or 4 guys around Judkins. All of them should have made the tackle. But he is tough to bring down. Me and Cole were down there field level. First time really seeing Quinshon Judkins in person. Man, is he built like a running back or what?
Judkins in. Touchdown, Ole Miss. This is what set it up, laying the wood before finishing it off himself. 4 plays, all Judkins.
Texas A&M's defense collapses in its 4th straight loss. So, I want to be real clear about something. This Texas A&M season is, I would say, a catastrophic failure at the moment, right? I don't think you can really say that it's anything other than a catastrophic failure. Sitting at 3-5, 4 consecutive losses. Okay, without the program, it's a bad year for A&M. The reason it is a catastrophic failure is not because of the defense. The defense has been the saving grace for this team for a lot of games. It was the saving grace against Miami. It was the saving grace against Arkansas. So that if the defense had not been as good as it had been over the course of the first 7 games, this would be an even bigger disaster in College Station. So I want to be clear about that. All that being said, the defense was a disaster on Saturday night. Ole Miss runs for 390 yards on Texas A&M, the 2nd most ever surrendered by A&M. And actually, if you take out sacks, because for some reason college football counts sacks as rushing yards, which doesn't make any sense. Right?
God.
It's crazy. It's so silly.
Yeah,
but
shout out NCAA again.
If you take out sacks, they ran for 399.
Yeah, that's just wild.
They ran for
so
6.5 yards a carry. They were getting gashed. And look, like part of it is that I think they're wearing down. Like that front is wearing down. But they were getting bullied up front.
Well,
I mean, it was bad.
And we talked about this before, that this defense had been, at the beginning of the year, this defense was playing well enough to at least try and keep them in games, but we said it every single week. Eventually, that side of the ball will drop off, maybe just for a game, maybe they bounce back next time, but there was always destined to be a game where the defense just was not ready to play, did not step up to the plate, and that offense just doesn't have what it takes to say, hey, y'all were down for 1 game, we're going to pick you up for a second. It was just bad.
Now, the offense was better. They brought in Connor Wigman. They
But
brought in
that's a
Connor
low
Wigman. He looked
bar.
good. He threw for 329 or something like that.
Yeah, Wegman had a good game.
He had a good game. Like, and maybe they've got something there at quarterback. They topped the 24 point mark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got 28. But, like, now, like, if it's
the gap is just too much.
It's got to
make
feel
up
like
for it.
it's got to feel like right now, like if it's not one thing, it's another. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There, it's kind of snowballing. It was ugly, and you know the defense was due for a bad game. Like, I think that's fair to say. They were due for a bad game. They weren't great against Mississippi State, but like they were due for a bad game, and it came at the wrong time. Anyway, that's number 5. Moment number 4.
Senior out of Chandler, Arizona, has another year of eligibility left. 23 years old. Can he find some magic in that right arm that's maybe a little rusty? It's picked off. All the way back to the end zone. Touchdown, Baylor. A.J. McCarty with the 5th interception of the night for the Baylor defense.
Baylor's defense dominates in romp over Texas Tech in Lubbock. We can talk a little bit about the offense. I thought that Richard Reese had a great game. I thought Blake Shapen, I thought that they really balanced the offense particularly well. But in the end, this is about the defense. The defense was the dominating force in this game for Baylor. They looked fantastic. And they really made Texas Tech look awful. Tech rolled out 3 different quarterbacks, and all 3 of them threw an interception. All 3 of them threw an interception. At one point, they threw an interception on 3 consecutive possessions. Donovan Smith threw an interception, Baron Morton threw an interception, and then Tyler Shuck threw an interception for a touchdown.
Yeah, and at that point, how can you ask the defense to do anything more when they're just going straight back out to the field?
Oh, my God. I mean, yeah, it's like, look, the defense was fantastic
They really
for Baylor. And an important win for them. That was really, both those teams came in with the same record. They're both 4-3, and for Baylor, they've got to feel really good about where they are right now. 3-2 in conference. Now they go to Oklahoma, which is suddenly a weird game. Like, is Oklahoma good again? I don't know. Like, going to Norman's not any treat, but like, I don't know. We'll see exactly what Baylor's got. But that's an important win for them to make sure they stay in the race because, like, they get Oklahoma, and then there's Kansas State, TCU, and at Texas. And they only need one more win for a bowl. Like, and I know that's a low bar for Baylor, but like there was a time where we were questioning whether or not they were going to get there.
Yeah.
This is a really important win to get them right back where they're feeling like, all right, we should make a bowl. Mm-hmm. Conference title is probably out the window unless everyone else collapses around us. But this was an important win for them.
If that Kansas State game was home, I would feel a lot more comfortable about it. But the fact
it is at home.
It is at home? Okay,
Yeah.
Well, then never mind. Then
They're
I feel like
K-State,
that's...
but
okay.
K-State's pretty good.
They
K-State
are.
just got done beating the dog out of a team that beat Oklahoma, or Baylor in Oklahoma State.
Yep.
So, who knows? But
Was
that
Spencer Sanders out that game? Do you know? I think he was.
he got hurt, but the game was the game was ugly before then, so he did get hurt. But in any case, a great win for Baylor. Tech is not. I mean, this was always in my mind a loss for them, like in preseason.
But
so they
the
need 2
measuring
more.
stick could have
They
been
need
better.
2 more. Probably not beating TCU this week in Fort Worth. Maybe they will. We'll talk about TCU in a moment. But Kansas, Iowa State, or Iowa State and Oklahoma probably should get 2 of those. A bowl would be a great year for them. Anyway, number 3.
Jet Duncan, these guys getting after it, doing a really good job up front. Hat on a hat.
Ani downfield, and it is caught. Damon Ward, he'll take it for 6. Touchdown, Mean Green.
So Talik Allen takes a poor angle on this. You got to squeeze this ball in here. Austin Ani does just that. Throws it. Poor angle by Talik Allen.
And Ward does the rest. Hey, Sid, how about these numbers? You play.
North Texas strikes fast. Their hot start fuels a big win over Western Kentucky. I thought this was the most complete game North Texas has played this year.
Yes.
I think in all phases they looked really good. I think Austin Ani was super. That's about as good as you can ask for from Austin Ani.
110%.
Right? 322, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Mwah.
He looked.
Thank you, sir.
He looked great.
Take that every week. Mm-hmm. Running game, still pretty good. Ran for 5.5 yards carry. Mm-hmm. Right? Spread the ball around, ran the ball pretty well. Defense played really well. held down a pretty high-powered, for the most part, kind of bend, don't break, which is kind of the way that they're going to play defense this year. I thought that was great. And what was most important is that they got out to a hot start. They ran out 14-0, and at that point, you're making Western Kentucky chase.
And I think that's going to be the key for the rest of the season for them, because if Ani gets down, Ani doesn't have a performance like that. If he starts off like that, then you're good. It literally carries the rest of the team. But you cannot ask Austin Ani to have an exceptional performance when he's trying to claw his way out of a hole. I
think you're right. I think that when you're able to, I think it's
when
really
he's able
important
to relax. Honestly,
I think it's and I think when North Texas is able to run the ball. And they're able to, and I'm not talking about like the ability to run the ball. I mean like when they're in a game state in which they can say, hey, you know what? It's second and 6. We can run the ball. Or it's 1st and 10. We can run the ball. We don't have to start pushing the ball down the field over and over. That's when Ani gets in trouble.
Right.
Is when you're making him go out there and throw the ball 60 times in a game.
Yeah, because if you are able to, because that run game is always there. Like the run game is always pretty decent with this team. When you're able to have him take a deep breath on first down like that and say, hey, just sail this one out and see if you can grab it. Then the plays like we just showed happen.
Right, exactly. I mean, basically, yeah. Wow. How about this? Every time he's thrown the ball more than 30 times, every time North Texas has thrown the ball more than 30 times, they've lost. They threw it 34 against SMU. They threw it 30 against UNLV. They threw it 50 times against Memphis. 50 times against Memphis.
Yeah, that was.
And they threw it 31 times against UTSA. Every time they throw the ball more than 30 times, they lose. Also, he threw the ball 28 times, and then they brought in the backup, and he threw the ball a couple times too. But basically, that's the magic number: is get yourself in a game state where you're not asking Austin Ani to throw the ball all over the yard, and that's what they did. It's a great win from North Texas.
And huge when it comes to seeding so far in Conference USA. I mean, huge.
Oh yeah. Number 2.
Let's go. And you remember? Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about them being number 2 in Conference USA. I was gonna.
Moment number 2.
Put the hand up. To me, if he's 100%, he makes that play, knocks it down for USA.
Snead back in, the cutback, barreling his way towards the goal line, and he reaches across for the touchdown.
Bounce attack. Cougs bounce attack makes the difference against USF. There's going to be a lot of talk this week about what Clayton Tune did, and Clayton Tune was great. He's over 10,000 yards now as a passer at Houston.
He had some really clutch throws in that game.
Excellent. But I think, and they didn't run the ball a ton, but they did it enough. They did it enough that they're allowing the defense to not relax. They have to be good enough running the ball to be able to give the receivers, so they're not dropping 8 basically. And that's what ended up happening. This was a really, really nice win for Houston. Wasn't always pretty. The defense, I thought, left a little something to be desired in this game. But if you got the offense humming like this, that's great. And I don't know. Let me ask you, Pickle. Do you think Houston's figured it out, or do you think they're playing worse teams?
A combination of both. I think that they're definitely playing worse teams than they were. Now, that question can be answered against SMU, because I think they've got SMU this weekend, and then I think they still have Cincinnati.
But SMU might be on a third-string quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. But still, overall, as a collective, even with a third-string quarterback, I don't think that there's any doubt that SMU's better than
But at the same time,
UCF.
but here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. You're exactly right. And look at the rest of their schedule, okay? SMU, they're going to be, let's see, is there a line on that? It's on NFL Network, by the way. Let's see. SMU's a 3-point favorite.
Which just means they're at home.
A little strange. So it's a coin flip game, but they're 3-point. Okay. Temple's terrible. They're 2-6.
Temple's awful.
East Carolina 6-3. That's right in their weight class. And then Tulsa, who's bad.
Yep.
8-4 feels like the floor here. You should go 3-1 down the stretch here. and like split SMU and East Carolina and beat Temple and Tulsa.
I think the thing that Houston has figured out is they've stopped shooting themselves in the foot so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's what their downfall was early in the season. Is very early on in every single game in the first quarter they shot themselves in the foot one, if not two times, and then it just tanked from there because the morale went down. If they can keep not shooting themselves in the foot in the first quarter, I think that this team should be favored in basically every single game.
And depending on how, the American's a mess right now.
It's not
It's a
what
mess.
it was
There's
last year.
it's Tulane, UCF, Cincinnati, and then Houston all are 3-1 or better. And so like a conference title game is not out of the question. So we'll see. But that's not the biggest moment of the college football weekend. Can I say, if I say number one, will you play number one?
Yeah.
Number one.
They're already in field goal range. And they'll run it here with Amani Bailey. And Bailey breaking tackles. Touchdown. Amani Bailey. Rifle shot to the end zone. And TCU has the lead.
Because there's only 3 linemen, they're planning on rushing 3, and those defenders are played off. It almost gives the offensive line free runs at the second and third level. And Wes Harris does a nice job of getting up to the second level. And Amani Bailey just finishes it.
TCU's strike before half helps keep them perfect versus West Virginia. I thought that was the most important score of the game and the most important score of the week if you're talking about like from a national perspective. TCU kind of farted around. I thought this was Max Duggan's probably worst game of the year. Mm-hmm. Even though like the numbers are decent, right? 341 and 3 touchdowns, just one pick.
Wasn't crisp.
He wasn't crisp. According to Bill Connolly, his success rate was only 38% in this game. It was poor. The pass rush showed up in the second half, which was important. And okay, so the first college football playoff rankings are going to come out tonight. We'll see where TCU lands. Who knows? They got to win out. They're not going to take a one-loss Big 12 team in the playoff, right? So they got to win out. They got to be perfect. TCU is like they're going to keep putting their hand over the stove. They're just going to keep putting their hand over the stove. They don't know any better.
Wouldn't it be a shame if I just...
They won't learn. They won't learn, and they'll fart around. This team farts around.
Yes.
Okay?
They have always found a way, but my God.
Listen, they don't ask you how, they ask you how many. Okay?
This is, you know what this is? The equivalent of Stephenville so far this year.
It really is.
Like one-point games,
fart around,
overtime games.
They will fart around on you. But when it's winning time, they'll come up with the plays. Mm-hmm. Now, I would prefer, personally, and I imagine TCU fans would prefer, if they would just go out and just like smoke an opponent.
Yeah, just, how about try it out for fun?
But like this week, I bet it's a 3-point game or something like that, right? So if you are TCU, like one of the things, if you're talking about like what could keep them out of a playoff, like game control, they don't have a ton of game control, right? But they're winning games. They're making plays when it matters. And undefeated is undefeated. I wish they'd be a little more dominant. I think the playoff committee would wish they'd be a little more dominant. It wouldn't be a surprise if they're like way underranked this week. Like they're like 11th or something. But in any case, TCU remains unbeaten, and a large part was that they made the plays right before half. They win that middle 8. You ever hear about that? The middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. They win the middle 8 pretty consistently, and they did it again this week. Anyway, there you have it. Your 5 biggest moments of college football weekend.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.